Welcome back. Good to see you.
Good to see
Happy
you.
Friday, the
Happy
8th
Friday.
of December. Thanks, Seabass, for recording this as usual. The first thing I need to do is I need to apologize because I was wrong last week, and it was told to me in a very, very nice way. So Ralph M. Brown, who drafted the legislation for the Brown Act, which we talked about last week, was not governor.
Oh.
I think it was a Friday morning faux pas of
Okay.
mine part. I was thinking either Pat Brown,
Jerry
or-
Brown?
not Jerry, but Pat. But Ralph Brown was actually a legislator in the Assembly
Okay.
from the 30th District in California, which included at that point in time Morro Bay, all the way over to I think Stanislaus or something. So I thank you for the kind correction.
You've corrected the record.
Yes,
Good job.
right. We'll document it in the minutes. So just for the record, a couple things I wanted to thank everyone who came to the council meeting and for the heavy lifting the council did the other night. We love public comments. They're really at the heart of our democracy.
Yeah,
So
really
thank you
important.
for people who came and spoke about topics that were on the agenda or not on the agenda. We appreciate that. You and I will talk about the January agenda next week.
Yep.
In our little vlog here. And then lots of good stuff in the Friday letter. I know you're going to mention a couple of things that are in it just to highlight them. And then, moving into 2024 as we begin our budget cycle. So already we're doing a lot of reading. There was a great piece by the Anderson School of Business at UCLA yesterday that talked about kind of where the national and California economies, how they're forecasting. And that's part of the information that we gather when preparing a budget. So the current thinking is that we're not in a recessionary trend, but the economy is slowing. So again,
Yeah.
that's part of the information.
Yeah.
And
Those trends tend to carry down even to local governments.
100%, especially where you have a community where, well, any community, whether it's manufacturing-based, service-based, or visitor-based, which is a lot of our, two of our three revenue pillars, certainly. We'll do mid-year budget review, Brandon, in February, and the audit will be done at that point in time as well. So stay tuned for another exciting budget season and discussion. And then I think the only other thing I wanted to announce, and again, this is in the vein of us trying to educate the community.
Yeah.
I had a great meeting with LIUNA, which represents our non-sworn, a lot of our non-sworn personnel.
That's the union.
It's called LIUNA, which
Yeah.
is Labor's International Union of North America, I
There
think.
you go.
And they're an AFL-CIO affiliate, and they represent, again, our non-sworn. We have two other unions. We have the Police Officers Association that represents both the sworn and the non-sworn in the police department, as well as our paramedic firefighter, the 6 personnel that we have. So I would argue that about 2/3 approximately of our workforce are represented by organized labor, and about 1/3, which are like you and me, are at will, so we're not represented. So we are obviously, we go into collective bargaining, so we work with these groups. We try to meet with them on a pretty regular basis to tune up, make sure things are that we're hearing the employees' concerns, and it's a little bit of a more formal setting than someone just walking into one of our offices. And so we meet with them and their union representative, which is a third party, on a regular basis, hopefully monthly, and the unions negotiate contracts. So right now, the LIUNA contract will expire at the end of this at our current fiscal year, which is June 30th of 2024. So we'll begin negotiating in the new year, and part of the economic considerations help factor into the negotiations as well. So as we're delving into the economics of the new fiscal year, we're also delving into, in this case, the new contract. So I hope that's helpful. And again, we've got, I think, very healthy relationships with all of our bargaining units. We continue to have a very open door policy and enjoy our discussions in that kind of a setting.
But I think what that does, I mean, we talk about the obvious things on the vlog all the time that the city does, the public works functions, the stuff that happens out of my shop and
Right.
community planning and building, but there's, other functions of the administration of the government here locally. And one of those things is the labor relations and labor contracts and what that looks like. So it's a big thing. It's not taken lightly, and it actually takes quite a bit of time.
Yeah, it absorbs a lot of time. It's really important. Again, it shows the employees who are represented that we care, and it comes from the council, right?
And that's what I was going to say, is ultimately the negotiating team on the city side is negotiating on behalf of the city council, because
Correct.
Ultimately what happens, we talked last time about closed sessions and how those work. We had educated about those. Ultimately what happens is those negotiations, the bargaining team from the city is going and sharing that information with city council in closed session, but ultimately that comes out in open session.
Correct.
When the decision's made, like
Correct.
we talked about last week. There's a process for the whole thing.
Right. But great segue.
Good callback,
done.
huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like tennis. You just batted it right back.
Loved it.
Done.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. That's what I got. What do you got?
Not too much more, actually. So next week, we have our planning commission meeting next week, a very full agenda. I think we have 7 or 8 items. The one to highlight that folks probably would be most interested on a citywide basis is the Hofstas House Hotel. We'll be there for a concept review, so no decisions are being made. The architect and the owner will be there to give a really nice presentation, video with fly-throughs that shows the project. We'll talk to the planning commission about some of the high-level planning concepts to see where they're at on policy, and get some early feedback, and then ultimately it will come back to the planning commission for consideration.
Right.
So we'd love people to come and be involved in that. The Hofstas House has had a couple of meetings already with the community. Those were not city sanctioned. This is the first real city involved meeting.
They didn't need sanctioning, but
They didn't need sanctioning, right?
Yeah, they weren't
Probably
city,
the wrong term. City sponsored. How about
Yeah,
that? They
that's a
weren't
good
city
one.
sponsored.
Another
Okay.
S word.
That's better. Thank you. So that's next week. A couple of public works updates to share.
And the Hofstas House goes to the HRB the following week.
That's right.
I think
That's
on
right.
the 18th of December.
That's correct. That's right. So a lot of Hofstas House action in the next couple of weeks. A couple of public works things to share. They purchased a pretty good pile of trees, 25 plus or minus, mostly cypress.
Monterey cypress.
One of our favorite trees around here.
One of the big 4.
That's right. So you'll see those going in soon. They're going to be planting those. And then also, speaking of public works, there's going to be a lot of surveying going on, but not the kind of survey you might be thinking. So no one's going to be walking around with pieces of paper asking you what you think.
It's scientific, but not in the scientific sense.
These are surveyors. Surveyors who are going around with, the sticks, with the little things on top. Lasers. It's really fantastic. So they'll be out there, invest all over town. And what they're doing is they're surveying for the fiscal year 23-24 paving project to get started. So there's about a year of surveying and drawings that need to be done, planning and all that stuff. And hopefully that project will start towards the end of next year, the end of 2024. And then we'll see a lot of streets in town get a new surface on them, which is very exciting.
Right. We do the surveying, we do the design work, we get the council's fingerprints on the segments that we're going to repave or remove and replace, and budget for it, obviously, and go under contract.
So you'll see the surveyors out there for about a month or 2. Yeah. And that's what I got.
Right on.
Yeah.
We thought it was going to be a short one today.
It was medium-ish.
All right. Well, I hope you have a good weekend. Hope you have a good weekend.
And
take good care.